A long time ago, in the beautiful land of Bavaria, was a little prince who dreamed of being more than just a little prince, but a knight of the Order of the Swan, and the fairy tales that surrounded his life, and eventually all of Germany. Through his obsession for William Wagner and the operas that inspired the marvels he'd later billed as the Mad King Ludwig II, the Swan King.
Hey, what's up? This is My Last Minute Plans. I'm Daniel, and welcome to my channel, where I like to talk about my travels and a little bit about the history there.
Bavaria's capital, Munich, in the south, the third largest city next to Berlin and Hamburg. The rental was an electric. Finding a charge for it was a problem. Who knew that Germany wasn't riddled with charging stations? Not sure where I got that idea from. My phone didn't work, and the rental's GPS took me off course. I was lost, but the scenery was worth it. It was one of the best days of my life, to be honest. Along the way, I found Wi-Fi and managed to guide myself towards the correct general direction. I found myself in a cute town of Fusion, where I drove around for a bit, enjoying the scenery, and once I left, I then noticed Sleepy Beauty Castle sticking out from the side of the mountain. Bingo. The town before entering the tourist trap was Schwanga, and I stopped at the first restaurant I could find, which had a beautiful view. I ordered some Bavarian dish which consisted of a lager beer battered pork and an insanely delicious potato dumpling, which I never had before. I'm gonna be honest here, the best lager I ever had was in Munich, and if there's something better out there, let me know in the comments below. I'll definitely want to go visit. After lunch, I parked beside the Alpsee Lake, in a parking lot nestled between Ludwig's childhood summer home, Hohenschwanga Castle. In a now tourist trap of a town also called Hohenschwanga, there were several gift shops, boat rentals, and a few restaurants, I think two. And out of the view stands Neuschwanstein Castle. No set plan, and with the worst case scenario of sleeping in my car lingering over my shoulder, I kept optimistic, as I have to be in these situations. And because I don't want to waste any more time, I settled camp in the first hotel that I walked into. And I looked out, because the only room with a balcony was available. It was the best view from a balcony I ever seen. This was nothing more or less than magical. The room was surprisingly cheap. It was less than $230 a night, which is not bad considering the view and where I am. I've certainly paid for much more at places that I prefer to forget. After setting camp, I took a hike up the mountain to the castle. It was time to visit his childhood home, the king who was misunderstood and more of an artist than he was a politician. Ludwig was surrounded by a dreamlike place filled with swans, deep blue lakes that reflected a crystal sky that the mountains pierced through. Without any friends other than his brother, and who was raised by maids and tutors, without a relationship with his parents, if there even was any, our prince lived in his fantasies. His father once said, "But what would I say to him?" after someone suggested that he should take his son for a walk. In this majestic landscape, our young prince played alone most of the time with his brother, fantasizing of being part of the Order of the Swan, and being the Swan King himself, Hohenschwanga, which loosely translates High Swan Land. The swan is the heraldic animal for the region, and rightfully so. It's full of them. This place changed his life forever, and of all of Germany. When his father died, Ludwig became the youngest king in Germany at 18 years old. As soon as he was anointed king, one of his first orders was to bring his idol composer, Richard Wagner, to him, gave him his own room at the palace. Apparently, Wagner was on the run from his financial obligations He was broke, a loser. Ludwig literally brought his career back, paid off all his debts, and when they were away from each other, they sent each other romantic letters. While Ludwig was gay for sure, Wagner wasn't, and he definitely played along to get what he wanted out of Ludwig. Hohenschwangau Palace, originally constructed in the 12th century, despite of being destroyed a few times in all the wars in the region, it was later reconstructed by Maximilian II, the father of Ludwig II. The palace had many owners before as well, including the Knights of the Schwangau from 1195 to 1254. These were the actual Knights of the Swans that Ludwig was so obsessed about. After a day of exploration, I returned to the hotel, briefly enjoying the balcony before heading out to dinner.
King in the castle, king in the castle. Have a chair, I have a chair.
I sampled a Berliner Luft, a potent peppermint liquor. It was pretty strong, and the aftertaste was similar to vodka, except the peppermint stuck around for quite a while. I then ordered the same pork and potato dumplings because I had loved it that much. Back at the hotel, I enjoyed the balcony a little bit more and enjoyed the rest of my night. The following morning, it was time to visit the main attraction, Neuschwanstein Castle, often referred to as Sleeping Beauty Castle. I had a German breakfast, which I did not enjoy. I forgot what I ordered, but let's just leave it that way. Perched on the side of the mountain, I hitched a ride up, because walking would have taken hours. I was not about to do that with the little time I had left. Constructed in 1884, the castle was inspired by Ludwig's passion for Richard Wagner's operas, as you can see in full detail in every room of the castle. The king played a hands-on role in its design, insisting on detailed plans and personally approving every draft. It's fair to say that he essentially designed the palace. The entire palace was a work of art, with hidden passages for the servants, as they should go unseen. He was engaged to the Duchess of Bavaria, but he kept postponing the date, blaming her father for their separation. In truth, he liked the boys. His brother was institutionalized, who he frequently visited. Unfortunately, it runs in the family, since marrying within the family is a common practice for royalty in those days. It was said over time he too started to go insane. His idol composer spoke ill of him, his health deteriorated, his two front teeth fell out. Though he did use his own money to build these palaces, politically he wasn't popular and he wasn't doing very well. Back then, one way to get rid of a king, other than murdering him, was to declare him insane. They had a renowned psychiatrist pronounce the king unfit to rule. They arrested Ludwig in Neuschwanstein Castle and locked him up in Burg Castle, near Lake Steinberg, where he will later be found, pronounced dead.